I've got the lovely YEKINDAR joining me for another Flashpoint 2 team interview. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and chat with me. Just first of all, wanted to get the team's feelings for you guys obviously qualifying to make it here to Flashpoint 2. How are you feeling to be here?
I mean, it's a great opportunity for us. I'm glad we qualified. All the team was happy when that happened, especially because at that time when the qualification was happening, there was like IM New York happening at the same time, and we had crossovers with games, and like we had like 3 best of 3s in one day, and that's why we were really happy that we actually qualified and did like no mistakes, and we didn't lose any games during that time, and it showed us that we have like really great potential, and that we're never giving up, and that we have a lot of strength in us.
Yeah, it's fantastic to get to see you here as well. And I just wanted to ask you particularly about that qualification here for Flashpoint, obviously through the Pinnacle Cup. Can you kind of just walk me through how you guys were feeling as a team, what you were particularly focusing on within that qualifier that allowed you to take that first place spot?
We didn't play a lot of officials before the qualification. Like we had 2 months. We played like 2 times, two officials only, 2 best of 3s in 2 months, and we were mostly focusing on practice. And the qualification was mostly our test to see like how good are we, and we didn't focus that much on like fixing mistakes. I mean, if they happened, we were fixing them, but mostly the games were pretty easy. I remember hard game was against Endpoint, if I'm not mistaken. Like. Mostly because it was an early game as well, because we had at the same day, like I said, New York game, and that's why it was a bit hard, because we wanted to end faster, but in the end it happened that there were 3 maps, all of them were close, and we even got forfeit on first map of New York against K23 because of it, because we were late. But I'm glad we won, and it was just a good test for us.
Yeah, it's incredible to see you guys here making your first appearance here at Flashpoint. I do want to start off by talking about yourself as a player. It seems like obviously you joined the team, you're one of the newest additions joining back in May. So can you walk me through exactly how you kind of joined the team, who reached out to you, and how you're fitting in with the team initially when you first joined?
I knew that opportunity would come in Pro 100 because Zeus actually told me that Virtus.pro were interested in me since like February or January, and but they only committed at May after the RMR, because they thought they're gonna play the major, but then the major got like delayed, and that's why they took me after RMR. And well, I mean, mostly I didn't even know these players. Like I don't know them in real life. I've played with them at that time, like maybe 2-3 FPLs or something. And Sanji, I only saw Sanji like he was a friend that I could call a friend, you know, because I wasn't talking with Kicker, Jame, or Buster, or Adrian as well, and it was actually a pretty hard task, you know, filling in a team where you don't know anyone. And but I mean, they did a great job on opening themselves to me, and I did as well, and now we're really good friends and a family, I would even say. And at first it was a bit hard with the roles, but everybody's happy now.
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear. So how did you kind of find your comfort zone within the team? How have you kind of found your specific role now within the team? Was that a little bit of a learning process for you, or was it something that you kind of just naturally slot into after you had a few times to sort of play with them?
But when Buster left for the break, and I was playing instead of Buster had a lot of roles that I actually played before, so it wasn't a problem like filling me in there. But after when Adrian already left and Buster joined, then it was really hard, because I was playing Buster roles, but Buster joined back again, and we needed to switch it up a bit. But I said that all my all my roles that I like would love to play, and the team just opened up for me, gave me space for it, and allowed me to play. And like for me to be comfortable, they they left their comfortable zones, you know. So I'm glad actually that they believe in me and they actually did it, and yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear. And I also want to speak about Jame, obviously the in-game leader of the squad. So what's it like playing underneath him? Is his leadership style any different to some of the rosters you played on previously?
I never had or I think I had the captain, like main opera, only once. It was in Pro 100 in like first ever lineup that we played, and when the sniper is calling, it's a bit different than when the in-game leader is in action somewhere, you know. And mostly he needs to focus on his game, but he can't fully commit to like playing aggressive and getting up entry somewhere because he needs to control the game, you know. And maybe that's the difference that I see. But he's a great in-game leader. Like he really focuses a lot on the enemy, on finding up and thinking about the great plan for the game, and we just help him out a lot as well. Like he's not the only one calling. Like he has a plan for the game. He usually calls, but in like hard situations or different situations in mid round, me and Kikert are always trying to help and give up some mid calls and some of our ideas if Jame has no ideas or something like unexpected happened. So yeah, but he's a great captain and I'm glad we have him.
Yeah, that's really interesting to hear that you guys can kind of give your input as well. Does that extend to, you know, when you're preparing for a game, are you giving any input then, or is it more when you're making those adaptations inside the server?
It's actually both of them, because we're preparing to every game, and mostly depending on the map, different players watch different things they need to know. So it's not that one person that watches the game saying all the information, but it's people actually doing input, like watching the games themselves, you know. And me and Kickard are watching the games usually, and Jame as well watching the game. And after that, we saw like how the enemy play in previous games. We know how can we mid call, or like we know how they're playing already, and it's just easier for us after we watch some games, and yeah, basically.
Well, speaking of that, it's interesting because you're obviously going to be facing Cloud9 here at Flashpoint for one of your first games, a team that we haven't seen anything of, quite literally a completely new roster coming together. So how has that had to change your practice and preparation coming into it, considering that there are no matches of Cloud9 to watch?
I don't know. It's either going to be a tough game, probably, like probably that is going to be a tough game because we don't know any of the positions we never played against them in practice, or like we're not asking for any team for information, you know. That's just stupid. And it will be hard, like for example, killing Mezzi and Floppy on Dust 2 on A, and then thinking, wait, Floppy's B player or A player? Like, where do we go? Like, otherwise you usually know like the positions of the players, and you can play around the map like a lot more freely and easier, you know. But when you don't know how the team plays, I don't know. It's gonna be either easy or a tough game. I don't know. Like.
And speaking about the rest of your group as well, in my opinion, you've definitely got one of the toughest groups going because you've got OG, but also Genji on the other side of things. So I want to get your thoughts initially on OG, because we've seen them, you know, increasing in terms of their consistency since they first formed at the end of last year. So how are you viewing them as competition? What are you making of them at the moment?
I think they're the favorites in all of this tournament, actually. Like out of the three invited teams, I think they are slightly higher, actually, even though the ranking doesn't show up like I'm saying it, yeah. But I think they're a bit better than Fnatic and Big. But you know, OG's style of the game is, for us, it's looking to be like how do I say it? we're not afraid of them because of their style of the game. They're playing pretty like standard CS, you know, and we can always expect, and if we just play our game, and because we're used to playing these kind of enemies, it's hard to play against Cloud9 because you don't know anything, you don't know what CS they're playing. Usually they play, I don't know, but like against OG, I think it's gonna be a fine game, and I don't know, I'm actually pretty, how do I say it, pretty confident if we play OG.
Interesting. It's interesting that you mentioned there that you feel like they're the favourites for this entire tournament as well. Is there any particular reason you think that? Is it any of the individual players, or is it what they're bringing as a team unit together?
Mostly because just they're showing the stability now. Like they were losing like 1 month ago or something, but now they're showing the stability that they needed, and it depends on the group. If they're gonna be confident in the group, I think they're gonna be a really hard opponent for any team in the playoffs, and we'll see. It all starts with the first match from them against Genji, if I'm not mistaken. So, and especially Genji has 2 stand-ins coming into this third tournament, so I hope OG shows a great game, and yeah. But I think they're pretty good.
Yeah, and obviously touching on the good form aspect as well. You yourself, you've been showing really great form recently. You had a 20-game win streak going on. You obviously placed top in some of the recent CIS events as well. So what have you guys been particularly focusing on as a team, and also extending out to you as a player, because you look really, really solid in some of the recent events?
As a team, we mostly focus on like we had those 2 months when we didn't have any games. We were hungry. Can I like swear or?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah, we were hungry as fuck. Like we were so hungry for games because we didn't play with Buster, and then we tried to like Buster in the two months that it was August and mid-September, and we wanted to play games already. We were practicing like all the time, and Buster was in Almaty in Kazakhstan, and it's like 120 ping to Germany. And then we were playing 2 tournaments where both tournaments we lost to Gambit youngsters, and then we just couldn't understand like how good are we? Are we good or are we bad? Because in practice you don't see, like, obviously you can win like all the practices, but then come to the tournament and lose to, I don't know, an underdog, right? And we needed games, we needed tournaments, which what we did already in October after Buster came to St. Petersburg to get a normal ping for Europe servers, and then we started rolling, and we just focused on playing and finding actually the confidence, I would say. And for me, I don't know, I'm just playing FPL because there's nothing to do in this pandemic time, and I'm usually an outgoing person, but when you can't go anywhere,
a great way
just sitting home and playing FPL. Yeah,
you know what, the grind is real, and I really respect it as well. So with that, how are you viewing yourselves in comparison to the other competition? There's been a lot of people saying you know, that you guys aren't the favorites here. You're definitely up there with you know, the top tier of competition. So are you kind of viewing yourselves at that? How are you placing yourselves if you're comparing yourselves to the other teams?
Well, I mean, I don't want to be bragging, but because like the 20 games win streak that we had, it wasn't like tier 1 teams, right? It's 2 times Navi, only team of tier 1 that we played, and this tournament for us is like a stepping stone, like because this tournament will show us how good are we. We don't know yet. Well, of course we're feeling pretty confident because we have had those win streaks, had these games that we won, and ESL New York, right? Or IM New York that we won, and I mean, we're pretty confident, and especially it showed up as well, like when the teams were picking for the groups. We were last pick, so it means teams are actually afraid of us. So I know we're pretty confident in ourselves, but we will see.
Well, I can't wait to get you guys in the server here at Flashpoint 2. Thank you so much, YEKINDAR, for taking the time to chat with me. Very excited to see what you guys are bringing.
Thank you as well.